Hey there, Hoka One One athlete Sage Canaday here with my favorite hip flexor stretch. This helps extend the stride and also stretches the front of the quad as well as that hip flexor and core area. So it's important when working on hip mobility and doing these stretches that you've warmed up your muscles, maybe you've done an indoor workout, and you really want to ease into these stretches very slowly. It should feel good. You don't want to force anything or you might pull a muscle, so be careful. Alright, so this is just the regular, traditional, tried and true stretch here. We got our front leg, my left leg, at 90 degrees. We're not stretching that one, we're stretching the right leg. The front of the hip flexor, the psoas, connects down, of course, into the quad. I don't have the heel elevated in this position, but I'm trying to be at a 90-degree angle with my torso, perpendicular to the ground. Keep this hip, this right hip, forward, right, forward. And feeling the stretch all throughout here, but also throughout even in the psoas here. It's this deep muscle that connects to your back, your spine. It goes into the front of the hip flexor, stabilizes the pelvis, tightness in the hip flexor, tightness in the hip though. But you could really kind of lean in to this stretch, especially if you have this knee angled back, and when you put our arms up like this, we could really feel it, especially if you thrust this right hip forward. Feel that stretch really kick back into that hip flexor. It opens up the stride, and it's something I've really struggled with from sitting too much, but also from running super high mileage over the last 20 years, and getting older, of course. So front view, I'm still stretching that right hip flexor, but what we're gonna do, just get back a little, is I'm gonna actually lean to the right. I'm just leaning straight to the right, or actually, sorry, I'm leaning to the left, my left. So I'm leaning opposite with my arms are up, and I'm leaning this way, so the torso is twisting. It stretches it even more in that psoas area. So leaning, you could practice that. You could kind of twist slightly from side to side, right? And keeping this other knee at 90-degree angles, basically, and trying to keep your pelvis, your hip bones straight, nice and lined up. With this stretch. Again, diagonal view like this, right? Trying to keep my armpits up. Stretch it like that and do the slight lean to stretch it even more in there. I'm going to stretch my right leg here, elevating the heel. Try to keep this knee at least 90 degrees. We don't want to be like forward like this sitting in the saddle. We actually want this thing at least vertical, if not going back at this angle backwards to stretch the front of the quad, the rectus formis. As you can see here, the other knee, my left leg is going to form a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to try to be upright, pretty straight here. We don't want to be slouching because this is where the stretch is happening, right here. I'm going to slouch down so you can see me in the frame, but right there, front of the quad, bang, that's getting stretched hard right now. Yeah, I'm feeling it. It's pretty intense. And you lean back into it, straighten that hip out. Really stretching that area there. Way too tight, way too tight. We're gonna throw this hip forward here, right? Hip forward at 90 degrees here. Trying to stay upright with the torso, not lean forward, right? We're trying to stay upright and feel that stretch. Maybe even in the psoas here, it's deep in your back, but mainly it's that front of the quad, rectus formis area, keeping that knee up. And if you lean back into it, you stretch it even more, all around the front of the quad there. Alright, hopefully that helps. Thanks for following along on this little stretching tip. This is one that I personally have been taking into account for my training a lot to open up that stride, increase hip mobility, and if you've been sitting a lot at your office desk or just sitting too much in general, it really helps open up the hips and stretch the front of the quad. So hope you're staying healthy, staying safe. Be sure to subscribe on here for more of these types of videos. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Oh, and just a personal update, personal note, Boulder was placed on a lockdown, technically, starting today, so there'll be more of these indoor exercises that I'll be doing. Technically, I could still go out on the trails. They're not closed. The open space trails aren't closed yet, but I imagine that it's better to limit outdoor time and to mainly stay indoors, practice social distancing, try to curb the spread, which has been pretty bad here in the US and pretty bad even here in Boulder, Colorado. So stay safe out there. Definitely try to stay healthy. And we will be donating 100% of sales from our training plans at sagerunning.com this Wednesday. That's tomorrow, March, whatever the date is, I'll put it there. 100% of the planned sales to a charity, the charity United Way, and it has a virus relief fund basically that we'll be donating to for people in need. So really appreciate your support on the training plan purchases and things like that. Thank you again, and stay tuned for more.